In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a website for your food truck business for under $200 using WordPress. Yes, there are free website builders available to you, but they have their limitations. If you want a functioning website that you aren't embarrassed to share with others, you do need to invest some money into it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to have control and customization while also keeping your budget in mind. We're going to spend about $10 on your domain name, about $40 on your hosting, and about $110 for the software we're going to use to build and design your pages. Note that these are annual prices, but hopefully your business is growing and that amount of money is even easier to spend next year. These are also the prices as I'm recording this video. If you're seeing this video years later, the prices may have gone up. This is going to be a complete step-by-step tutorial, all the way from planning to testing your completed website. Because of that, I'll be going through things pretty quickly. I do have a lot of in-depth tutorials already recorded though, so I will link them when appropriate. And if there's something you'd like me to explain more that I don't already have a tutorial for, just let me know in the comments and I'll get it on my list. Let's get started. Before we start building, we have to do some planning on how we're going to lay out the website. This is something called a sitemap, and it shows the web pages on a website and how they're connected. Every website has a home page, which is the main page where your domain name goes, and a lot of people think that's the most important page, but it's actually not. It's actually just a summary of the rest of your website. The most important page is our call to action page. Now, what that means is that's what you want your website users to do so they can become your customers. It's going to be different for every business, but for a food truck, you obviously want them to come to your food truck so they can order food from you. So you're going to want your call to action to be find us. On that page, we are going to include where you are now, where you're going to be next, your set schedule, and any special events you'll be at. We'll also have a Google map on that page so people can find you really easy. The other pages up there next to your call to action page are the rest of the pages that are going to be on your main navigation. And the purpose of those pages are to support the buying process. They're supposed to make it easier for people to want to purchase from you. So people do business with businesses they know, like, and trust. Trust is really, really important for a food truck because you're selling food out of a truck. And people want to feel comfortable with you and be able to trust that it's safe to eat out of your truck. So your about page is really important. You want to talk about who you are, talk about the experience you have cooking, talk about why you chose to start a food truck, and how you're passionate about the food that you're serving. Also, people really, really love doing business with smaller family-owned businesses. So if that's what you are, this is a great place to highlight that. So we've got the trust done there, and the menu page is going to do a lot of the knowing, so people know what kind of food you have. I know whenever I go to a website of a food truck, the first thing I do is go to the menu because I want to see what's available to me. Next, we've got the photo page where we're again going to do know, like, and trust. They're going to see pictures of your food. They're going to see pictures of the food truck so they'll be able to find you really easy. And they'll see pictures of your staff so they can, again, get that comfortable trust feeling with you guys. We're also going to have a catering page because another way that you're going to be able to get business, get new customers, make money is to cater events. It's really common for food trucks to be at weddings or birthday parties or other events like that. So you want to make it really easy for interested customers to be able to find a way to contact you to inquire about hiring you for those kind of events. And then in the footer, we're going to have a privacy policy and a contact us page because you do need to have those pages, but they aren't directly making you money. And you may be thinking, oh, but I want people to be able to contact me. And absolutely you do, but you want them to contact you in ways that you're going to be able to make them customers, which would be through the catering page or through the Find Us page. The Contact Us page will still be there so they can ask you questions if they need to ask you questions. But again, it's not directly supporting them becoming customers, so it goes in the footer. And as we're planning the website, we also want to think of how we're doing our marketing and how the website can support that marketing. So for food trucks, I highly suggest focusing on social media. Instagram specifically is going to be great for you. People are going to be able to follow your Instagram accounts, see the pictures of your food, which is going to get them hungry and get in the mood to eat your food, even if they're not specifically looking for something to eat right now. And it's going to be a really easy way for you to kind of like check in where you are on your mobile phone. So because of that, we're going to install a plugin that adds your Instagram feed to your website. So your website automatically gets updated whenever you post something on your Instagram feed. And also so the users can also easily follow you on Instagram. Now, usually we want the customer path to be social media network to your website and then to becoming your customer. But your industry is a little bit different. And because of how useful Instagram is going to be for them to keep track of your movements and where you are, we're also going to push them to leave the website to follow you on Instagram a little more than I would for other industries. Facebook is also going to be really good for you, but it's going to be more in the way of if you're active in the food groups in your community, then you can send them your website so they can view your menu and learn more about you so they can come see you. So we're bringing Instagram and Facebook to your website, but we're also sending them to Instagram from your website. Next thing we have to do is buy your domain name. I do have a more in-depth tutorial for this that I will link in the description below, but this is very, very easy. You just type your desired domain name here. So I'm just going to put, let's see, this is just a random test name, blah, blah.com. Now, this isn't the name I'm going to be using to build this website, but I already have that name purchased. I just want to show you how it's going to look when you buy your own name. Now, note that .com start at $10.37 right now. Different domain extensions are different prices and different names are different prices. But if you do an available.com, you're going to look at around $10. So after you put in your domain name here, click the search icon. And then you're going to see it on the list here along with a bunch of other options. Click the plus sign next to the one you want. Then click checkout. Don't add anything else here, though you can do a longer registration if you'd like. Then click continue. And then create a new account and check out. After you purchase your domain name and set up your account, you're going to come to a screen that looks something like this. And this is where you will edit your domain name settings. And we're actually going to come back to this later. But first we have to buy your hosting. My current preferred low-cost host is SiteGround. And if you click the link in my description below, you're going to come to a page that looks like this. Now for my clients, I use a more expensive, higher quality host. And there are a lot of benefits to that. But when you're just starting out, building your site on a budget host is fine. And SiteGround is the best one I have found. What you're going to want to choose here is WordPress hosting. So find that and then click View Plans. And then you're only going to need the startup plan. So click the Get Plan button. And then it says, please enter your domain. You already have a domain, so choose that. Put your domain name that you purchased there. And then click Proceed. And then fill out this form. To get that sale price to stay in our budget of $36, you want to choose 12 months. I personally would not choose Site Scanner unless you're going to remember to turn it off before the free trial. Though one of the downsides to going with a budget host is there are more security issues, so that's up to you. But if we're staying in budget, you probably don't want to pay an additional $30 a year for that. And then when you're done with that, click Pay Now. After that, you should come to something that looks something like this. Now, I do have a SiteGround account already. I didn't make a new one for this tutorial, so this might be a little different from what you're seeing, but I'm confident that it's the same enough that you shouldn't get lost. So I'm going to click this Set Up Site button, and then we come to this screen, and you can change your data center if you want. For this, you want to think about where most of your customers are going to be, and then choose a data center that's close to there, and then click Confirm. Then even though we purchased a domain name already, we're going to select temporary domain name. This is especially important if you already have a website up, you already have a domain name and it's doing something, because we don't want to point the domain name to a website that's not complete yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this website on the temporary domain name, and then we're going to point your real domain name when we're finished. So click the select button under temporary domain, and then it gave us a random temporary domain name. This doesn't matter at all what this is, and then just click continue. And we are starting a new website, so we're going to click select, and we will be using WordPress here, so we will click select under that. And then you're going to want to create login details to get into your WordPress. So put in your email address and then put in a password and then click continue. And then it's asking us if we want to add Site Scanner again. I still feel the same way I felt about it a couple minutes ago, so I'm going to just click the finish button without adding it. And now it is creating our site. So it says it will take less than 2 minutes to complete. So that's great. I'm not going to make you wait that time on this video, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it and then restart when the site is done. And when your site is done creating, that page will automatically refresh itself and you'll come to a screen that looks like this. So for us to get to work building the site, we're going to click Login Admin under Access WordPress Admin. And that should take you to a page that looks like this. Now, when I was clicking this button, it was giving me an error. So if you happen to be getting an error also, just go ahead and go to websites and then click the WordPress admin button there. And this is good to know anyway, because this is exactly how you're going to get back into your WordPress admin when you come back to edit your site later on anyway. So back to this page, we're not going to go through the WordPress setup wizard. I'm going to show you everything to do, so you can just click exit wizard. And here we go on your WordPress dashboard. And you can already start to feel good because technically you have a website right now. If you hover over My WordPress and click Visit Site, that is what your website looks like. And to get back into the admin dashboard to edit it, you hover over My WordPress and then click Dashboard. The first thing we're going to do is change some of our site settings. So hover over Settings on the left and then click General. And then you want to change your site title. You probably want that to be your business name. And then go ahead and put in a tagline that says a little bit about what your business is. Then scroll down and click Save Changes. Next, I like to shut off emails to make sure that I don't get any spam emails from anything. So then I click Discussion under Settings, and I uncheck Email Me Whenever, and then I click Save Changes. And we also want to make sure our permalinks are set right. So go ahead and click Permalinks, and then confirm that post name is selected. If it's not, select it, and then click Save Changes. Now let's install the plugins we're going to need. So click Plugins and then click Add New Plugin. First thing I want you to search for is Monster Insights. This is going to make it really easy to connect your analytics later and to see the people that are coming to your website, how many are coming and where they're coming from. This is the one you want. When you find this, click Install Now. And then when that's installed, click Activate. A setup wizard is going to come up, but we are not going to set this up until later. So go back to plugins on the left, then click add new plugin again. And this time we are going to search for Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T. This is going to be an SEO plugin, so we can make some changes to parts of your website so your pages will be able to be found in search engines better. So this is the one you're looking for, Yoast SEO. Click install now. And when that's done, click Activate. And again, we've got another setup wizard that we're not going to do. The next plugin we're going to add on is going to be the plugin that is going to help us connect to your social media networks. When you click the link in the description below next to Smash Balloon, you're going to see a website that looks like this. Click the Get Started Now button. And what I'm going to use in this tutorial is Instagram Feed Pro. Now remember from planning, I said that the social media networks you're probably going to want to use are Facebook and Instagram. But for Facebook, you're really only going to be using it mostly to connect with people that are discussing food in the groups that are about food in your areas. You should be doing more with Instagram. So by connecting it, we're going to make it easier for the website users to follow you on Instagram and to be able to find you and keep track of where you are when you check in places. And we also want to be able to easily get your Instagram pictures to show up on your website so people can see the food without even going to your Instagram. So now that I explained that, under Instagram Feed Pro, go ahead and click Get Started again. and then click Get Started again. And when you get here, all you're going to need is the personal plan because you just have one website. So click Get Started again under that. And then it's asking you if you want the All Access bundle, which is definitely something you can consider if you do want to use these other plugins. But in this tutorial, we're just using Instagram. So I'm going to click No Thanks, Proceed to Checkout. And then you can fill out this form to complete your payment. After you're done, Instant Access should give you a way to download your plugin right there. If it doesn't, check your email. Or you can always log into your account and then go to Downloads. And then from this page, you can hit the download icon next to Instagram Feed Pro. Once that's done downloading, come back to your site and then go to Plugins. And then go to Add New Plugin. And then click Upload Plugin this time. And then drag your plugin into that box. And then click Install Now. When that's done, click Activate Plugin. And then we're going to want to put in your license. So go ahead and come back to your Smashballoon account and then copy your license number. Go back to your website. Click Settings under Instagram Feed Pro. Click Settings again on the left where it says License Key down here. Paste in your license key and then click Activate. And the last plugin we need to buy and install is Elementor. So check the description below for the link to Elementor. And with Elementor, you only have one website and you're not doing e-commerce stuff. So under Essential, click the Buy Now button. Again, go ahead and fill this out and you should get access to your download and your license key on this web page or in your email. If not, you can sign into your Elementor account and then click the download icon on the top right and then click download on your product. I do have the expert version, so my name might be slightly different, but your download will be in the same place. And then head back to your website and then click Plugins. And then click Add New Plugin again. And then click Upload Plugin again. And then again, drag that plugin file right there into that box. And then click Install Now. And then click Activate Plugin. After you do that, it's going to tell you that you need the base Elementor plugin also. So under this little alert box, click Install Now, and then click Activate Plugin. Next, you want to connect your account. So click the Connect Your Account link. And then if you're still logged into Elementor, it should just say Activate My License. So then click that. And now that we've got all our plugins installed, the next thing we want to do is install the theme, which is perfect because we will be using the Elementor Hello theme because it is a really good base for Elementor and the Elementor kits that we're going to be using to build your website. So click the Continue with the Hello theme button right there. And then we can skip this because your site already has a name. And we can skip the logo part for now. We'll come back to that later. And then what we're going to do is click this box. It says choose a professionally designed template or import your own. The main reason why I suggest that you pay for Elementor instead of using the free version is because it comes with a ton of pre-designed templates. So in addition to the extra functionality you're going to get with the pro version of Elementor, these templates are going to do a lot of the work of building the site for you. So things are going to be very quick and easy. So go ahead and click that button. And then this is the fun part. You get to browse through here and pick a website design that you really like. To preview, you can hover over these and click View Demo. And then you can click Back to Library to view some others. I really like this fine dining restaurant one for us. So this is the one that I'm going to choose for this tutorial. You are, of course, welcome to pick a different kit, but of course things are going to be a little different when we start building for you. But I think this kit is really great because a food truck is kind of sort of like a mini restaurant, and it's going to have a lot of stuff here that's going to be useful for you just as it would be useful for a restaurant. So I'm going to click the Apply Kit button, and then I'm going to click Apply All. And then it's going to ask for us to enable unfiltered file uploads, and we want to do that so we can import SVGs, which are a type of image file. And then we're going to let this work for a little bit. And then when it's done, you're going to see something that looks like this. Go ahead and click Close on the bottom right. And then when you're back in admin, you can hover over your site name in the top left and then click View Site. And then you'll see that you have the kit installed on your site. Next, let's set the global colors and styles so they match with your global color and styles for your branding for your business. So hover over Edit with Elementor and then go to Site Settings. And then you can close out of this dialog box and you can click the Got It button here. And then you can click Global Colors on the left. Now, how these global colors and global fonts work here is that we can set colors and fonts that we're going to use throughout your website. And that way it's very, very easy to choose them in your theme, in your design. And it's very easy to update them if you want to make changes. Because when you would update your global colors and fonts here, anywhere that you chose them on the website will also be updated. Now, if you don't quite understand that, that's no big deal. Just follow me along here, and as we're building, it's going to all make sense to you. Just keep in mind when we start making changes here, the actual design is going to start changing also, and it might look funky. So we might have to come back and adjust back and forth, but that's fine. It's no big deal. Everything's going to work out great. So let's go ahead and get in your branding colors. I'm going to click primary here, and then the color picker is going to come up. So you can move this to whatever color you want, but to stay all consistent with your logo and your branding, you could go ahead and put in your hex code right here, which you should have been able to get from the designer, whoever did your logo. If you did it yourself, you should be able to grab this from whatever graphic design software you used or Canva or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and put my primary color as black, put my secondary color as black. We'll put the text color as white. I might adjust this while we're building because white text on black isn't usually super nice to read. But just for now, so I have the color set, I'll put that white. And then for my accent color, I am going to put a color from the logo. And then I'm going to scroll down, and for fonts, I'm going to click primary. And then I'm going to pick a different font. And I'm going to click a different font for secondary and a different font for text and a different font for accent text. And I also want the titles to match my branding text. So I'm going to adjust that one. And I am going to adjust this one with that font. And I'm going to do this one also. And I am going to do the copyright text as well. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to click update. And then if we click this back arrow in the top left, and then we click the X next to site settings, we are back to the regular Elementor editor, and you can see that some of the headings have changed and some of the colors have changed. And like I predicted, it does look a little bit funky, but that's okay. We are going to make changes and make everything look good. So don't worry. Next, we want to look at the pages that the Elementor Kit created and make sure they match with the pages we have planned. So hit the 3 lines in the top left and then go to exit. For this, you can just go ahead and leave this post selected and click apply. And this alert is going to come up. You can just click leave. Now you can close out of this, click the WordPress icon in the top left to go to the admin. And now these are the pages we have on the site now. We can definitely trash a sample page. And we can close out of this stuff. And as a reminder, here are the pages we have planned. So we have a home page, and we do have a home page here already. We have an about page, and we do have an about page here already. We have a menu page, and we do have a menu page here already. We have a photo gallery page on our list here. And we do not have a photo gallery page on our list here, so we have to create that. So click Add New Page, and then go ahead and type in photo gallery. Or actually, we just had this as photos, so this can just be photos. And then click Publish, and then click Publish again. And then click the WordPress icon to go back to your admin. Next thing, we need a catering page. So click Add New Page, and then type in catering. and then click publish and publish again. Click the WordPress icon to go back. And then when we look back here, the last 3 pages we have that we need are Find Us, Contact Us, and Privacy Policy. We already have Contact Us and Privacy Policy here, so we just need to click Add New Page again. And then we need to type in Find Us, and then click Publish and Publish again. And then click the WordPress icon to go back to Admin again. And now we have all the pages we need, plus we have global styles, which just kind of shows you what the global styles are for the site. It's just for your reference, and it's not going to be linked anywhere, so you don't have to worry about that. Just go ahead and hover over your site name and click Dashboard to go back to Admin. And now that your pages are done, we're going to create or edit the menus where those pages are going to be. So go ahead and hover over Appearance and then click Menus. And this is the main menu that's going to be on your site. I like to remove the home page from the main menu because the logo links to home and the home page isn't as important as the other pages. For the main navigation, you really just want to include pages that are going to support people to become your customer. So the home page isn't necessary. We're also going to have the Contact Us be in a different menu in the footer because you really don't want people to just generally contact you as much as you want them to either contact you for catering through the catering form or find where your food truck is. So you want to make it available for them to contact you, but you don't want it to take up the important real estate in the main navigation where you only want to be guiding people to become your customers. So we're going to remove that from this menu also. And if we look back in our planning chart, the other links we want up here are photos, catering, and Find Us. So we can click here to add photos, catering, and Find Us. And then after we select those pages, we can click Add to Menu. And then we can rearrange this. I want it to be Find Us at the end. And then when you're done, you can click Save Menu. Now, if you want to get more in detail on how menus work with WordPress, I will link to a more in-depth tutorial in the description below. Now that we have our main navigation menu done, let's go ahead and create the menu for the footer where we're going to include that Contact Us link. So click Create New Menu, and then for the menu name, call it Footer, and then click Create Menu. Now, what I like to do on the footer is I like to add another set of navigation that has all the links, including what wasn't put on the main navigation. So we can click this View All tab, and then we can click Select All, and we can add it to the menu. And we can go ahead and remove that global styles page. We don't want that linked. But this time we can keep the home page, and we can keep the Contact Us. I'm just going to kind of adjust this so it matches with the main navigation. Contact Us can go down there. And then it was photos and then catering. Once that's done, you can click Save Menu. And now we've got the menus all set up. So now we can start building the actual site. So let's take a look at it first. Hover over your site name in the top left and then click View Site. Now, what I like to do while I'm building a website is to have the original theme opened while I'm building so I can hop back and forth and reference it as I start making changes. So if you check in the description below, you're going to find a link to the Elementor Kit library. Go ahead and open up that page on another tab and then find the kit that you're using. This is the one that we're using. And then you can click Preview Design, and then you'll have that kit preview on another tab, and then you can just pop back and forth between that so you can reference this while you're working. So here we are back to our site. And I want to take a second to explain to you how most websites are structured. We're going to have a part at the top that is the same throughout the site and a part at the bottom that's the same throughout the site. And then between those are each of the pages that are going to have different content. The part at the top that stays the same is called the header, and it usually includes your logo and your main navigation. And the part at the bottom of the page is called the footer, and it is going to include usually your logo, social media links, sometimes more navigation, sometimes just the navigation repeated, and usually your link to your privacy policy and anything else that you need to have on the site but isn't super important. We only have to make changes for the header and the footer in one place for the header, one place for the footer, and then it will be updated throughout the site. So we're going to do that first by editing the header. So hover over Edit with Elementor and then click Header. And here is your header, and here is where we're going to edit it. And the first thing we're going to do is finally go ahead and add on your logo. So hover over Edit Site Logo, and then click Change Site Logo. So this is where we're going to add the site logo and your fave icon. Site logo is self-explanatory. It is the logo of your business. Your fave icon is going to be the little icon that's next to your site title in your browser. You're going to want this to be either a simplified version of your logo or another icon that represents your business in some way. And we've got some suggested sizes here. I'm going to do the site logo a little different because I have a square or a circle logo, so it's not going to fit in those rectangle dimensions. So I'm going to do that slightly different. But for fave icon, I am going to keep it at 512 by 512. If you need help resizing images, I will put a link in the description below to a video tutorial I have that teaches you how to do that for free online. So first things first, go ahead and click into Site Logo and then drag your logo file right here, just like that. And then click Select, and then click for Site Fave Icon, and then go to Upload Files, and then drag your fave icon on there, and then also click Select, and then you can click Update, and then you can click Back to Editor, and you can see that the logo is there, but it's super, super tiny. So go ahead and hover over that area, and then click the pencil icon. Also, the Elementor editor is really intuitive, but if it is kind of making you nervous, I do have a more in-depth Elementor tutorial that I will link in the description below. So when you click that, you should be able to go to Style, and the height is what's making it look so small for me, so I'm going to make that taller. I'm also going to get rid of this little line here, this divider. I know it is a like a design element of the original theme, which you can see right here, but it doesn't really work for my logo, so I'm going to go ahead and right click and then go to delete. Next, I'm going to select this menu area, and for menu, I'm going to choose main menu, which is the menu we edited earlier. And I'm going to change this font, and I'm also going to get rid of the underline. I know, again, it's part of the style of the original template, but I just don't like it for my personal branding. And I'm actually going to make this, let's see, semi-bold, sure. And I'm going to make the size a little bigger just because, like, my branding, you're going to want to think about this for your business. My branding for this business is less elegant, more fun. So I think a little bigger and bolder is fine. I'm going to just add a little bit of letter spacing because it feels very tight without it. And I'm going to change the color to one of the global colors I picked earlier. So to choose a global color, and you guys are going to see now why that was such a good idea, you're going to look at text color, and then you're going to click that icon that looks like a globe, and then you can go ahead and pick any of the global colors you made. And we've got this hover effect here. I'm not sure how much I like that. I'm going to test it on the main page before I make a decision if I want to make any changes with that. And then I also like how on this template we have a button here, which for the call to action. So I'm actually going to put Find Us here instead, and then take it off of that main navigation so it is even more highlighted and easy to find on the navigation. So first, let's make sure the link is right. So we'll close out of contact URL, and instead we'll start writing Find Us, and then the Find Us page will pop up, so we can click that. And then I really don't like how this button looks, so we have to make some changes to the style. So go ahead and click into Style. First thing I want to do is change that font. So I'm going to select the pencil icon. I'm going to switch everything back to default. I'm going to select the pencil icon again. And then I'm going to switch this font to that brush font. I'm going to make the size much bigger. I don't want it to be uppercase. I just want it to be capitalized. And then I think that's good. And I'm going to make this even bigger than I would usually make a call to action button, because again, like I said, the vibe of this branding is more fun. So that is fine to do. Our padding, like the padding is the stuff, the space on the outside of the button, between the button and the, not the outside of the button, the inside of the button, between the button and the words. So we're going to bring this up. Let's see, we'll do like 10 all around up first. And now that I'm doing that, I feel like the font is a little too big. When we make that, it's interesting how when you make the extra space, sometimes you can feel like the font is too big. So we're going to make that smaller. And that looks good to me. So I actually think it would look nice to do a hover. So when you switch to hover here, it makes it look different when your mouse moves over it. And I'm going to put the text color, the accent, and then I'm going to do the background color as white. So then when you hover over it, it looks like that. And when I do that, I see that there's a border here. I do not want that border, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then the last thing we have to do before we get rid of that Find Us link in the main navigation is we need to check for responsive mode. And that means that we're checking to see how this is going to look on mobile devices. You guys are extra important that your website works on mobile devices, because a lot of people are going to be browsing your website when they're out and about trying to find you. So to change those styles, click the responsive mode icon on the bottom left, and then you can switch between tablet and mobile and then make changes for how it's going to look on each of those things. Again, if you guys want more in-depth tutorial on this, it is in the description. But for now, let's hop in a tablet and we can see that this font is now, I think it's too big here. So when we change the font size here, when it's in tablet mode, you'll see that it only changes in tablet mode. When we bring it back to desktop, it's still big, you see? So this font I'm actually going to make smaller also while we're in tablet mode. Oh, not that small. Maybe like that. And we don't need the spacing as much. So that's in here, I think. It should be space between. And then horizontal padding. We can put that at like, there we go. That looks good for tablet, because we want to get this logo bigger. So we'll select the logo. And actually, when I move this stuff around, it's not doing what I want it to do. That's because I actually have to select the container, and then I can make the width of the container bigger. Not that big. Not that big. Let's say 50. 50 is too small, so we'll say 100. Don't really love that either. We'll do 150, and that's pretty good. So tablet looks good. Let's switch to mobile phone. And I feel like the logo might be a little bit too big for mobile phone. Because we don't want it to take up that much space. So I'm again selecting the container that holds it, and then I'm going to bring the width of that container down. But I do think I actually liked it better with the Find Us on the following line, like under this. So I'm going to select the WordPress menu, and I am going to change the width by going into advanced, and then for width I'm going to choose custom, and then I'm going to make it big enough so it knocks Find Us to the next row. And then I am going to put some padding under Find Us so it is not, or not padding, a margin, because that's the outside of the box. I'm going to put a bit of a margin under Find Us, just so it's not super stuck against the bottom of the page. And I'm just going to tweak this design a little more so everything matches. So for the toggle button, I'm going to make that color white for the lines so it matches. And then since it has that little rounded corners, I'm going to make the button match. And that's called a border radius. So what you're going to want to do is go to, let's see, where is it? In Style. And it just has a very slight one. So we could do maybe like, I think 5 will look good. Let's see how that looks. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe we'll make it 3. And that looks like that matches. Very subtle, very nice. I also think I want this slightly bigger for the phone, because again, it's super, super important. and we want it to stand out on the phone. It is the most important thing. So let's pop this up there. And that's going to take a lot of the navigation, but honestly, I think that's okay. Well, maybe I think the toggle button might need to look a little bigger too, just to match slightly. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. And then if we click into the toggle button, we can see the inside menu and how that's going to look. And we're definitely going to want to make some changes in here also. So go over to drop down. And for me, I'm okay having that background color black, though I do want the text color to be my accent color. And I do want the dividing line. We'll make that, let's see, we'll make that like a dark gray. Let's see how that looks. That looks good, a very subtle difference. And then for the hover, I'm also going to put my accent color as the background color. And there we go. I think that looks great. So now we can click update. And then let's see how this looks on the actual site by clicking the 3 lines in the top left and then going to view page. And this is actually not the actual site. This is the preview for the template. So if you click your logo, it will bring you back to your home page. And it is a good thing we tested this because I did not realize that white background was part of the header. I thought it was just the background for the template. So I do need to pop back into the header because I want that background to be black. So I'm going to select the header, or the container of the header rather. And then I'm going to go to style. And then for background type, I'm going to click classic, and then I'm going to make the background black. I'm just going to peek into the responsive mode to make sure that all changed in responsive mode also, which it did. And then I'm going to click update, and then the 3 lines at the top left, and view page to test it again, and then to click the logo again to go to your home page. There you go, looks good. And I don't hate that hover for me, so I'm going to keep that as it is. And the call to action button looks great also. So we do have the second find us link here, which is redundant. So to fix that, go ahead and head back to your dashboard, go to appearance, go to menus, and then you want to select your main menu and then click select. And then we are going to get rid of the find us link and then click save menu. And then when you view your home page again, you're going to see that the find us link is gone. Now that we've got the header done, it's time to get to work on the footer. So if we scroll down here, and we're going to get rid of this pop-up later because we just don't need it for anything for what we have planned. And also it's just going to annoy your customers. It's very rare that you actually want to put a pop-up on your website. So but we'll take that off later on when we're building the pages. So I'm going to close out of that for now. And this is what our footer looks like now. And it definitely needs some work. So we're going to hover over edit with Elementor again and then click footer. So first of all, I want to do that same black background. So I'm going to select the whole thing. And then I am going to do style. And then I'm going to make it primary, which is black on this website. And then we do have the arrow, which now we can't see it because the background is black, but I do kind of still like the arrow. So I would like that to exist still, but we do need to change that color to white. And that style doesn't match my branding particularly well, so I'm going to go back to icon library, and then I'm going to put arrow, and I'm going to do this one that just kind of looks a little bit more thicker, more playful, more casual. Next, we got to fix this logo. So you can select that and then go to style. And then if we change the height, it should fix it. And it does. And I also want to get rid of that divider that I got rid of earlier. So I'm going to right click and then click delete. And then we've got the social media icons down here. And for me personally, I love how the circles look next to my circle logo. But if you wanted to change the shape, you could do that here. I also want to make them a little bigger, I think. And I definitely want to add some more space in between these two things. And to do that, we are going to edit the container. And we are going to unlink these two values. And I'm going to give it some more row space. And also for justify content, I'm going to put it as center. And I'm happy with how that looks. So I am going to edit the social icons And then from here under content is where you would add your social media links. So you would put your link right here, you would paste it right here, and you can also add other social media networks if you wanted to, and change the icon, and then you would hit insert and then paste your URL there. Next, let's edit this menu, so you can hover over it and click the edit icon. And already the correct menu is chosen, the footer menu we made earlier. But again, I don't love the font, so let's go ahead and put the font to default and then click to edit it again. And if this doesn't work for some reason, go ahead and update the page and then refresh it, and it will. And I am going to get rid of that underline. So we're going to put that as none. And then I am going to put this as a little bit more bold, and I am going to actually keep that font size, just give it a little bit of letter spacing. I do want this to be the correct text color though, and I do want everything on one line. So I'm going to select that, and I think we can make this space between a little smaller. And it looks like I'll have to make the container bigger to get everything to fit on one line. So to do that, we're going to have to make these containers smaller, or really just this middle container needs to be smaller. So if we put this at 20%, then we can put this one at 40%, and then we can put this one at 40%, and then it will all fit on one line. And also down here in the heading, we have our copyright, so we can select that, and we have to make this white because you can't see it right now. But we see the name next to that copyright is not your business name, so go ahead and click the wrench icon next to the title, and then click advanced, and then you're going to want to put your business name there. And then for some reason it had the plus signs as spaces until I made edits, and then the plus signs turned into plus signs, so we're going to get rid of them and put spaces instead. Let's see here. Did I get all of them? One more, but I want a space, and it looks like there needs to be another space here. There we go. That looks great. And also maybe we make this, it doesn't have to be fully white. It can be a little bit gray because it's obviously still important. We need it there, but it is just to exist. It doesn't have to yell at people. And then we also have to get the privacy policy on here. So go ahead and click update, and then hit the 3 arrows up top, and then go to exit. And then for pages, we have the privacy policy right now as a draft. So if we edit this, we will see that there is default WordPress text for the privacy policy. This is just suggested text. I am not an attorney. I can't tell you what to do for your privacy policy, but I do have a service I use called Termageddon, which I'm going to show you how to set up if that's something you'd like to do for your website that does put in an auto-updating privacy policy. But we're going to add that on and talk about that later. So for now, you can just delete everything and then click publish and publish again. And then you can click copy next to page address. Next, click the icon on the top left, which is probably replaced with your fave icon now instead of the WordPress icon. Hover over your site name, view your site, hover over edit with Elementor, and go to footer. And then what I'm going to do is right click on this heading and go to duplicate. I'm going to close out the title that was there. I'm going to instead put privacy policy, and then I'm going to paste that URL right under where it says link, and then click update. Now, just like the header, we do have to make sure it looks good in all the different devices. So click into responsive mode and then click tablet. This is pretty good, except I think it's weird that the navigation is to the right when all of this is centered. So I'm going to select the container that holds that. And then for align items, I'm going to go to center. And then I'm going to switch to mobile. So I actually really don't like how this menu looks in mobile, and I don't really think it's as necessary on the mobile phone. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and then I'm going to go to advanced, and then I'm going to choose responsive, and I'm going to choose to hide it on a mobile device. So it's not even going to show up on the mobile device, but I do want to make sure that the spacing is it's not super close to everything else. So I'm going to choose the copyright heading, and then I'm going to unlink everything and then give it a bit more of a margin up top. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to click update, and then I'm going to click the 3 lines in the top left and go to view page. And then again, I'm going to click the logo to go to the actual home page. And then if we scroll down, we will see our new footer. And while we're here with that pop-up that just annoyed me, we can quickly go ahead and get rid of that pop-up before we start building the pages. So hover over your website name in the top left and then go to dashboard, and then hover over templates under Elementor and then click pop-ups. And then I'm just going to trash that. Okay, one more thing I want us to do before we start building the pages, and that is connect our Instagram account. That's because we're going to be adding those Instagram feeds to the pages, so we need it to be connected to do that. So hover over Instagram feed on the bottom left and then click settings. And then click the plus sign under manage sources to add a source. And then you can pick if you have a personal account or a business account. I'm going to be testing with a personal account. Note you do get some special things if you do a business account, but it does have to be connected through Facebook. So I'm just going to click the personal button, and then I'm going to click connect with Instagram, and then I'm going to click allow here, and then I'm going to click allow again. And then it is confirming that that's your domain. So we're going to say yes. So since it's confirming that this is the domain, as we do testing, after the site launches, we're going to have to pay attention to make sure this feed is still working when it has your correct domain name attached. For now, I'm going to just click, yes, this is my domain. Next, we have to add a feed. So click all feeds under Instagram feed on the left side, and then click add new. And I'm going to select user timeline. This is just the post from your Instagram profile, and then click next. I'm going to select the source we just added, and then click next again. I'm going to select modern, but we can change this later, and then click next again. And then I'm going to click simple row because I want it at the bottom of the pages. And then I'm going to click next again. And then I'm going to close out of this, and I just want to make a couple of changes here. For header, I don't want anything on there at all. I don't want a header at all. So I'm actually going to switch off enable here. And then I'm going to click back to customize again. And then I'm going to edit the follow button. And I'm going to make this my branding color. Unfortunately, we can't grab the Instagram global colors from here, so you are going to have to put those in. And I think that looks really good, so I'm going to click save. And okay, now that that's connected, let's go ahead and start building the pages out. So click pages on the left sidebar. And we're just going to make our way through this list, which is perfect because you might think, homepage first, but again, that should be the summary of everything else. So I really do prefer doing that one last. And I like to do a really basic page to start out with to kind of set the style and the design for the rest of the site. So hover over about and then click edit with Elementor. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you how I am going to edit and design this page. Obviously, your branding is going to be different than mine. So you are going to want to include fonts and colors and pictures that match your business. But I am going to show you how to make those changes on this page. And then after we're done with this page, we're going to save it as a template. So it's going to be way quicker and way easier to finish up the rest of the pages on the site. Also, I'm not a writer. I usually hire a professional content writer for all of my work I need to do. So I'm not going to be going over that in this video. If you can't hire a writer right now, I do have a video about how you can use ChatGPT to help you write website content, and I will link that in the description below. Okay, so first things first, I have this global font for the headers set to be all caps, and I actually don't like that. So I'm going to pop back into the site settings and go back to global fonts. And I'm going to change this hero title down here to be capitalized instead of uppercase. And then I'm going to click update. And now I'm going to close out of this. And there you go. That looks much better. And then for me, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give this a black background to match with the header. If you want to make sure you're editing the right thing, you can right click and then click edit. And so I'm going to change that color to the primary black color. And then of course now we have to change the font colors so you can see them on the black. And then if you want to change this image, you can just select it. And then you can click where it says choose image. You could switch to upload files. And then drag the new image in here. And then click select. And then we can scroll down to the next section, and I'm actually going to make this section background a gray color. Do I have a gray color in here already? I do, but it's not exactly a full gray. So I'm going to go back into the site settings, go back to global colors, and then I'm going to select BG2 and I'm going to make this a gray color. And then I'm going to click update. Close out of here and then select that. And you know what? Actually, I want a darker gray. I want it to be almost black here. So we're going to go ahead and do that instead. And I'm going to copy that color and then go back to site settings and then go back to global colors. And then what I'll do is select that and then make it that gray color and then click update. And then close out of this again. There we go. That looks good, except these colors are not good. So I'm going to change this font to be a white, and we'll do it as a text global color so I can change them if I want to. And I also want to change this font to be the same primary font. And I actually don't want that arrow there at all, so I'm going to delete it. And now that I did this, I think that this needs a little bit more space at the bottom. So I will select that and then unlink the margin values and then bring the bottom up to maybe 30. And then instead of having these be like featured image boxes, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off the title for all of these. And then I think what a good thing to do here is to put pictures of your food and then to put in a link to view your menu. So I'm actually just going to drag in a button to go right there. I am going to center it. I am going to have it say view menu. And then for the link, I am going to put menu and select that. And in addition to global fonts and global colors, we can also make a global button style. So I'm going to click update right here. And then I am going to do the 3 lines up top and then site settings again. And this time we're going to go to buttons. And under typography, I'm going to pick the main font that I'm using. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to switch the background color to that accent color. And then for the hover, I'm going to just switch that so the text color is the accent color and the background color is white. So we have a hover effect on it. And then I'm going to click update. So now every time we add a new button on the site, it is going to look like that. So X out of this. And then to update these images with images of your food, just select the image box and then choose the image right here, upload the file right here. And then when we scroll down, this is where the theme puts your owner bio. I personally think this should go up higher instead and then have the menu below that because that's kind of the point of this page. So Elementor has something called a navigator. And the cool thing about this is you can drag stuff around really easy. So we want this chef container to be right under the hero container. So we can just drag that there. And there we go. That looks way better. And we already have our menu link down here. So we don't need it here. We can get rid of this button. And then we need to change these colors to white, to the text color for both of these. And then after that's done, we also want to make sure it is using the correct font. So for typography, we're going to select text. And then for the header, for typography, we're going to select primary. And then after I do this, I've noticed that this line spacing is very tight. What line spacing means is the space between the lines. So we're going to click update again. And then we're going to hit the 3 lines at the top left, site settings. And then we're going to go to global fonts, and we're going to adjust that text line height. We can do, it's hard to see in the preview because they don't give us multiple lines, but 1.6 is usually good, 1.6 EM. So I'm going to click update, close out of this, and then there you go. That looks much better. And you're probably going to want to give more information than that. So obviously type that there. And then, you know, like I feel like there's a lot of space between these two right here. So we can select this and we can go to advanced and we can go ahead and bring the bottom padding. Let's see what happens if we make it 0. If we make it 0, it actually looks good because it's taking the top padding from this section. So that looks great. So we have an intro section, we have an about the owners, and then we have a little feature for the menu. And then on the bottom, we have a little call to action section, but we could do way better than this. So let's make some changes here. So what I think I want to do here is I think I want a section that has the call to action that says find us. And then I want to have the Instagram feed under that. So go ahead and click the plus sign to add a container above this, and then click the plus sign again. And I'm going to choose a container with the directions going down. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make the background of this container that accent color so it stands out. And then in that container, I am going to put in a button. And now you see that button, we're going to have to adjust those colors a little bit. But we're going to center this button first. And then we're going to give it some spacing. So what we'll actually do is we'll edit the container. And then we'll go to advanced. And for padding, let's see what happens if we do 50. That's pretty good. So let's select the button again. And then instead of click here, we want it to say find us because that's our call to action. And then we want to find that page and link it. And since we're using that accent color as a background, we're going to change the styles of the button a little bit by making this background of this button white and then making the text color the accent color. And then instead of there being a color change on the hover, I'm going to go to hover and do the hover animation as grow. Next, let's go ahead and click the plus button to add another new container. And we're going to put this one as direction as the row, though it really doesn't matter because it's all going to be filled up with the Instagram feed. And we can actually go ahead and close out and delete that container there. And then we can go to widgets and search for Instagram feed and then drag that in. And then we are going to select the feed we created earlier. And then we see everything is smushed. So click to advanced and then for width, go to full width. And then I am also going to add a small margin on the bottom so it's not directly on the rest of the footer. And there we go. We've got this whole page basically laid out. But like I said, we do have to make sure that we are doing mobile styles on all the pages. Very, very important for you guys. So switch into responsive mode like we did when we were doing the headers. And then choose tablet and take a peek at everything and make sure everything looks good. And I think everything looks good. So then I'm going to switch to mobile. And I'm going to go through this. And I think everything looks good on mobile also. So then I'm going to click update. And I am going to get out of responsive mode. And then I'm going to click this little arrow next to update that says save options. And I am going to choose save as template. And then I'm just going to call this sub pages and then click save. And then I'm going to close out of the templates and I'm going to hit the 3 lines at the top left and then go to view page. Just because after I finish a page, I like to see it in the browser just to see exactly how it's going to look for everybody and just to feel a little proud of myself. So you should feel a little proud of yourself also. I also want to show you how to make edits to the title tag and to make edits for other SEO things that you might want to do on the page. So we can click edit page up here and it'll bring us into the WordPress editor. And then if you scroll down, you'll see something that says Yoast SEO. And this is where you can make changes. This is why we installed that SEO plugin. But specifically what's really good here, and I use a lot, is this is where I use to change the page title, which search engines use all the time. And I'll also change the social share images right here also, which would be right here. When you make any changes here, don't forget to click update. Now let's start making our way through the rest of the pages. So click the icon on the top left to go back to all the pages, and then click edit on the catering page. Now the new pages that we built that weren't automatically created with the kit are not already connected to Elementor. But all you have to do is go to this page and then click the edit with Elementor button. Now to start from that same template we created on the about page, hover over this folder icon that says add template, then go to my templates, and then choose subpages and hit insert. And we can say yes to override the settings of the page because we want it to be exactly like the about page. And now we can make adjustments here. So I'm going to change this title to be catering. And then you probably want to update this image to something else, possibly that has to do with catering. We don't want the same image on every page of the site. And then when we scroll down, the Meet the Owner section is where we will replace it with the catering information. We can go ahead and keep this menu part. We can keep the call to action to find us, and then we can keep these Instagram posts here. So we can change this to say something like, have our truck at your event. But instead of this picture here, let's get rid of that. Let's delete that and let's throw in a form instead. So we can search for the form widget and then pop it in there. And then name and email are good, but we probably also want maybe this to say date of event. And then that's just the label. So we also want to put it as a placeholder, date of event. And then we can drag that above message. And then let's have message say something like additional information instead. And I see that this send button doesn't hover exactly right, so we can go to buttons. And then I see that the send button isn't hovering exactly right, so let's head over to styles and let's hover over to buttons. And then when we go to hover, we can select the text color and make it the accent color instead. So now it's doing what it's supposed to do. And then since this is a form, we also want to make sure it's going where we want it to go. So go back to content, and then for actions after submit, it should say email. After you confirm that it does, click into email and make sure your email address is there. You can also change the subject if you want right here, and then click update. And we are going to test all the forms during the testing phase, but for now this page is done. So you can again hit the 3 lines up top and view the page and then confirm that everything looks good, and then go back to the dashboard by hovering over your site name in the top left and then clicking dashboard, and then going back to pages. And the next page we're going to do is contact us, and it is already done with Elementor, so we can just click edit with Elementor. But we don't want this page how it is now, so we're just going to delete everything. I'm just going to go to right click on each of these sections and then click delete. And then I am going to add in the template that we created by hovering over the icon with the folder and then click add template, and then go to my templates and then go to subpages and hit insert and then click apply. And then we want to change this to say contact us. And then you can put a little bit of information about why they might want to contact you here, but we probably actually don't need this image because this page is very information only. They're coming to this page for a purpose. So let's just make it as easy as possible for them to get in touch with you. Again, let's get rid of this picture, and then again, we're going to throw in a form. So we've got the form widget, we're going to drag right in there. And the default form looks good to me, but again, we're going to have to fix that button hover. So go to styles, and then under button, switch to hover. And then for text color, choose accent. So that works. And then what you can do here is add the rest of your contact information. I like doing the icon list widget here. And then you can exit out of this stuff, delete this. And then in here, we have to make it white, first of all, so we can see it. And we got the icon white, and then we're going to do the text white. And then for content, we can choose a phone icon. If we search mobile, it should come up. There we go. That's good. We can insert that. And then you can put your phone number here. And then maybe for your second one, having an email would be good. So we can go ahead and put, I think envelope. Yep, envelope will give us that icon. So then you would put your email address here. And then for the last one, you can do your map marker. If we search map, we have a map pin. I like that one. And then you can just kind of put your location here. And then I think it would also look nice to make this icon color, the accent color, and then to make everything bigger. The icon should be bigger. The list needs more spacing in between the list items, like that, I think. And then, of course, the text needs to be bigger also to match with it. And I want to make sure that we're using the correct text there. So I'm going to select that, but I do want the size to be bigger still. There we go. And maybe a little bit more spacing in between the icon. And there we go. I think that looks good. So let's check everything in responsive. Tablet looks good. And then phone looks good. But actually this text is too big on the phone, so we're going to go back to text and we're going to adjust the font size to make it smaller on the phone. And the list spacing between doesn't have to be that big either on the phone. And then we're going to click update. 3 lines on the top left, and then go to view the page. There you go. Looks good. And I'm realizing I don't think we checked responsive for the catering page, right? So I'm going to pop back into catering and then go to edit with Elementor, go to responsive, and then check tablet and check phone, and everything looks good. So we're going to 3 lines at the top left and then go to exit and then hit the icon at the top left to go back to the rest of the pages. Next, let's go to work on the important page, Find Us. So click Edit under that, and then click Edit with Elementor. And then hover over the template icon, click it, and then go to My Templates. And then at Subpages, click Insert, and then say Apply. So what I think the best thing to do here is to put up here at the top where you're going to be next, and then put down here your schedule right here where it says Meet the Owners, and then the rest of this can stay as it is. So let's select this header here and change this to say Find Us. And then I think we should do a subheading here that says where we are next, and then let's change that font to be the text color. And then for typography, let's see here, how does secondary look? I don't love that. Let's just go to text and then make some changes here. I like the idea of making this capitalized and then making it a little bigger. And I think bold might be good here. And then under here, we can put where you actually are going to be. So we can say maybe food truck party. And then you could say the date and the time, and then where you're going to be. And then I think this would look better centered, maybe a little bigger also. And then maybe we can bold food truck party. And then under here, instead of the picture, what we can do is do a map. So we'll search for the Google Maps widget, throw it there, get rid of this picture, we'll delete that. And then select this map and then put the location right there. And then you can adjust the zoom if you'd like. And then if you want to change the colors of the map, you can go to Style and then add on a CSS filter. So you can like change the hue, so you can change the map colors here. Or you could bring the saturation all the way down and make it black and white. And I think I'm going to do that here, make it black and white. And then, of course, you're going to have to update this regularly before you go somewhere. If that's something you don't want to do, of course, you could just delete this part and instead just do the schedule. So let's go ahead and make this the schedule. We'll change this to say schedule. And then we can delete this container and make sure this container fills up the whole width. And then let's delete this text box also, because for the actual schedule, I'm going to go to widgets and I'm going to go to icon box and throw that in here. And then I'm going to go to style so I can adjust the colors so I can see this as I'm working on it. And this color here for the description also. And then for the box, I'm going to choose the icon position to be on the left. And then let's go back to the content. And for the icon here, we can do another map pin, which is the same icon we used for the contact page. And then for style, we can go to icon, and actually I'm going to make that the accent color just like I did for the contact page. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then I want the heading to be a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and move that size up. And then how the spacing here is a little weird. So if we click edit on title and we adjust the line height, it should be able to help. So I think that looks better. And then if we want a little bit more space, we can do it here. And I want to make sure the description is getting the right text that's on the rest of the website. And then let's make sure that the title is capitalized. And then what you can do here for the title, you can go ahead and say the event name and then say the date and then the time. And then in here in the description, you can give a description of the event. But I think it would be best for you to just put the address. So that can work just like this, but you probably want to give them a really easy way to get directions also. So you can make this whole thing click into the Google Map link right here, but you really don't want to send somebody off your website without letting them know. So I think the better thing to do is let's go ahead and throw a button under it. And then we can call this Get Directions. And then you can put the Google link here and they'll go exactly where they're expecting to go when they click that link. Actually, what I want with this button too is I want it next to the event name. I don't want it on the next line. So we can select event name, and then when we go into advanced, we can do the width as custom, and then we can put the width at, let's say, maybe 80%. And then we can do this button width to custom also right here, and then put that at 20%. Then to put them next to each other, select the container that holds it. And then for direction, change it to row. Now it smushed everything together because it took schedule off of 100%. So just select that again, go to advanced, and for width, choose full width. And then we have to let the container allow this to go on the next line. So select container, and then where it says wrap, choose wrap. And this is still on the next line because we have gaps here. So if we unlink this, then that all goes on one line. But I do want a gap between the columns, so we can give one here like that. I also want to take this button and select it and then go to content and then align it to the right. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the easiest way to duplicate these events is to have them in their own container. So to make that really easy, I'm going to duplicate this container, and I am going to delete schedule from this one, and I'm going to delete this extra stuff from this one. And then since the container that's holding the containers is having them next to each other, I don't want that. So for direction, I'm going to switch it to column vertical. And then for gaps, I'm going to put that to 0. Then I'm going to select the column that's holding the event, and I'm just going to add some spacing here to make this look a little better. So I'm going to give it a top margin to move it away from the schedule a little bit. And then I am going to do some only bottom padding because I think it's a good idea to have a line to separate the events. So after I do that, I'm going to head to Style, and then I'm going to choose Border, and then I'm going to unlink this, and then I'm just going to do a 1 pixel bottom border, and then I'm going to set the type to solid, and then I'm going to unlink the border width, and I'm just going to put a 1 pixel border at the bottom, and then choose a black. So then if we look at it, it has a black border down there. So then you can just go ahead and select the container that's holding the event and then duplicate that as many times as you need to add new events. And that's it. Now you have your schedule. So everything else on the page is good because it's the same stuff we do all the time. All we have to do is check in responsive mode. So switch to responsive mode. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have to make adjustments here. So first, let's look at tablet. Switch it to tablet. The top looks good. And this almost looks good. We just have to adjust some things here. So the width of all of these containers, these main containers, should be 100. So I'm going to go to all of this, and actually that one only went to 75, right? I'm going to go to all of these and make them 100%. Now, if it probably would have been a good idea to do the responsive styling before I copied all of them. So actually, to solve that problem, I'm just going to delete these and then do 1 and then come back and copy them again, duplicate them again after. So that's 100%, but the spacing does still look a little weird. So I think the main thing we have to do is make the size of the title a little bit smaller. And then we can also make the size of the icon a little bit smaller. Not that small, not that small. And then we're also going to have to change the line height of the title. So we'll do that to make it like that. And it's really smushing that Get Directions button. So to fix that, we can select the icon box and we can go to Advanced and we can make the width, let's say, let's switch it to % first, and then we can make the % like 75, and then the % for this can be, switch this to %, and then it can be 25, and that's pretty good, I think, but there's a lot of space here that's kind of weird, so I'm going to select this container that holds everything again, and then put the rows to 0 again. That looks much better. We already know everything is going to be good at the bottom of the page. So then we can switch to mobile. And then everything did get very, very weird here, which is not unexpected at all. So we're going to select this icon box and we're going to make this 100%. And it looks like it changed it to put the icon on the top. I don't want that. So I'm going to put the icon position back to the left. And now the event title is super weird. So let's go to the title and let's change the typography. We'll make it a little, not that small, a little bit smaller. But if it goes to the next page, I want to make sure the line height is right. Next line rather, not next page. So I'm going to make that like that. So that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to select the button, and for advanced, I am going to make the width 100%. And for alignment and content, I am going to, let's see, I think left looks the best there. And actually, now that I see this, I changed my mind. Maybe I do want the icon up top with this one, but I want everything aligned left. And there we go. I think that looks good. We already know the rest of the page is going to look good because we've checked it already. So then we can go back to tablet, make sure that looks good, and then go back to the full desktop, and that looks good. So now when we duplicate these containers again, and then we look at it in tablet and mobile, everything looks good. So now that that page is done, click Update, and then 3 lines at the top left. View the page. Now you can ooh and ah and pat yourself on the back for a job well done. And then hover over the site name in the top left and then click dashboard and then click pages. Okay, so the next page is global styles, but we know that's not really a page, so we're going to ignore that one. And then the next page is home, and I want us to do that last. So hover over menu and then click edit with Elementor. Now this page in the theme already has a menu set up, so we're going to use that, but we are still going to use our template so the subpages all look the same. So to make that happen, what we're going to do here is we'll just hover over this container here, press the plus sign, and then press the template icon, and then go to My Templates, and then go to Subpages and click Insert, and then click Apply. And then we can right click on this old hero and go to Delete. And then on this new one in this title, we can just call this Menu. And I think keeping this text here to say a little blurb about your food is great. And then a picture of your food for there is good too. And then we're not going to use this section, so we can close out of that. But we are going to keep the menu and then the call to action and our Instagram. But we want the other menu above that, like here. So we're going to open up the navigator again. And then let's click and see what Contact Us is. That was the old call to action we're not using, so we can right click and delete that. And this is another menu area called Popular Dishes, but I'd rather have all the menus look like these. So I'm going to delete this one, and if you need to, you can just duplicate one of these containers if you need an additional menu area. So like, for example, if you wanted something else under dinner, what I would do is I would right click on brunch and go to duplicate and then just drag that one under dinner. And then you have an extra area right there. But then again, we want all this under the hero. So we'll move brunch right under that and then dinner right under that. And then, oops, brunch right under that. Now these names in the navigator, they don't really matter. But if you wanted to change them, you could just double click and then retype a new name. So let's see how we've got the page now. We've got the main menu header, and then we've got the first menu section, the second menu section, the third menu section. And actually we can get rid of this section also because we don't need to tell them to view the menu when we're on the menu page. So I'll close out of that. And then we just have the call to action and the Instagram. So then we would just have to style these three sections. So I'm going to select and go to style and then choose that second background I made earlier. And I'm going to do that for all three of the sections and this last one also. And then what you would have to do is it looks like we don't have that text color as a global color. So you would have to go in and set all of these as text for the colors, for the titles and the content of each menu item. So I'm actually going to do that off camera so you guys don't have to wait for me to change the color on everything, and then you do that also. Okay, I got all the colors done, but now I also want to change the fonts. So I'm going to select the main heading, and then for typography, I'm going to choose what I have for primary for the global font. And then for the menu item, I'm going to go to content, and for typography, I see that we already have global fonts selected. I just don't like them very much. So to solve that problem, we are going to go into the global styles and we're going to change the secondary style and the tertiary headline. So we don't have to go in and manually change each of these menu items. And again, that's the great thing about global styles. So go ahead and click update, and then 3 lines at top left, and then site settings, and then global fonts. And then the secondary is the one we want to change for the menu titles. And I think I want this a little bit more bold. I think that looks nice. And actually, I'm pretty happy with it just like this. And then if I scroll down for the tertiary headline, let's make this capitalized instead of uppercase. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And then let's give a little bit of letter spacing. And now we can click update. Click the X to close out of site settings. And then there we go. It's updated here, but I see the line spacing is not great for the tertiary headline. So we'll pop back 3 lines top left, site settings, global fonts, and then scroll down for tertiary headline, and then let's give the line height 1.6 EM, and then if we hit update, close out of this, that's much better. And then obviously you want to replace these pictures with your own, and we've got to adjust these styles for the headlines, for the headline fonts rather. So we'll select that one and make that one primary too. And there we go. Now we have the page designed. And now, of course, we have to check for responsive. So click responsive mode in the bottom left. And then let's see it for tablet. Everything is looking good. And then let's see it for mobile. And everything is also looking good. So that's great. We can go ahead and click update. And then 3 lines at the top left, and then view the page. And there you go. Ooh, and ah. Job well done. Let's go to the next one. Hover over your site name in the top left, and then click dashboard. And then click pages. Hover over photos and click edit. Then click edit with Elementor. Hover over the template icon and click it. And then click my templates. And then on sub pages, click insert. And then hit apply. So for this page, let's go ahead and change this title to say photos. Oops, that's not how you spell photos. That is how you spell photos. And then what I would do here is I would delete this image here because this is going to be a page that's only images. So we don't need that. You could put a little intro paragraph about your photo gallery here though. And then we have 2 options that we can do for the actual photo gallery. If you wanted to, you could make another Instagram feed and only have your Instagram feed update the photos here. Just like how we did it in the footer, you would go to widgets and then search for Instagram, drag it in, and then select the feed you created. And then every time you updated a photo on Instagram, it would automatically come up here. And then if you wanted to do that, I would close out and get rid of the Instagram feed on the bottom of the page. But what you can also do is add in a regular photo gallery that stays the same all the time and then keep your Instagram photo gallery down here. And if you wanted to do that, I would close out of this container, delete this, make this container full width, delete this text, and actually delete this also. And then instead I would go to widgets and I would search for gallery and I would put in the gallery. And then from here, you can select images by uploading new images here or selecting images that are already in your media gallery. So I'm just going to select a bunch of random images that came with this theme and then click create new gallery. And then you can select all of them and add a title and a caption if you want. And then click insert gallery. And there you go. Now you have a photo gallery that you have control of on the page that doesn't update every time you update on Instagram. And then when you click one of them, it gets big in the light box and then you can close out of that. Now, as usual, responsive mode. And then we look at the tablet and this container isn't all the way 100% on the tablet. So we're going to select it and make it 100%. And then we're going to scroll down. Everything looks good as always. And then we're going to select mobile and scroll down and everything looks great. So we're going to update the page. 3 lines at the top left. View the page. Feel good about how nice the page looks. Hover over the site name in the top left and then click dashboard. Now click pages. And now it's time to talk about the privacy policy. So hover over privacy policy and then click edit. And then click edit with Elementor. And then we are going to go ahead and add the template like normal so it matches with the rest of the pages. So click add template and then my templates and then sub pages and then apply. But since this page is just kind of a serious page that just has to be there, we're going to get rid of a lot of this stuff. So we're going to get rid of that and we're going to get rid of that. We're going to make this say privacy policy. Privacy policy. And then we're going to get rid of all of this extra stuff on the page. And then when we do that, we don't have a space at the bottom of this anymore. So select that container and then go to advanced and then go ahead and make the bottom 12% also so it matches. And then we can close out of this picture. We're going to actually delete that whole container. And then like we just did for that last page, we're going to make this container full width. Now, if you have your own privacy policy, you can go ahead and select this text area and paste it right there. If you don't have your own privacy policy, I do recommend Termageddon. I use it for all of my client sites that are on my maintenance plans. I'll put an in-depth tutorial to Termageddon in the description below. But when you log into your account, it's going to look something like this. And then you can just click into one of your licenses. And then under privacy policy, you could click view embed code and then click the copy button. Pop back into your website, go to widgets, search for HTML, drag that in. Don't forget to delete that other text box and then go ahead and paste your HTML code right there. And now we can't see this font color here. There is a way to go into the code and do a workaround, but I don't want to make your life any more difficult than it has to be. So what I would suggest here is just to select this container, and this page is going to look a little different than the other pages, and it's not going to be the end of the world, but I'm just going to select this and make it a very, 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 very light gray. Actually, let's just go ahead and make it all white so it doesn't look like it accidentally doesn't match. And then this is going to say that it's not loading, but it's going to load fine when we preview the page. Let's go ahead and check it in responsive mode. And this is going to be the easiest page to check in responsive mode because there's really nothing here, but just to do it anyway. And then we're going to click update, 3 lines on the top left, and then view the page. And there you go. Now it loaded. Finally, let's get the home page done. So hover over your site name in the top left, click dashboard, click pages, and then hover over the home page and then click edit with Elementor. So for the home page, we want it to generally match the sub pages, of course, for consistency, but we can be a little more creative here. So what I'm going to do is scroll down here and do a quick kind of review of what's on this home page and then add on the template for the sub pages and then adjust things as we can. So we have this big picture up here, which is called a hero image. Though there's 2 images here in this one, but it's the hero area. And then when we scroll down, we have a little bit of an about section. And then when we scroll down again, we can't really even see what this is because the color is off. So let's fix that really quick. And this kind of just looks like a feature of the food. Maybe we'll replace that with the menu section we have on the sub pages. No, we'll actually do that here because this looks like, yep, this looks like a little menu feature here. So as you can see, like I said earlier, the home page is just a summary of the rest of the site. So it looks like when we scroll down, we have another menu section. And I don't think we need all that on the home page. I think just the one menu feature is good. So I'll probably replace all of this with the one menu feature we have on the sub pages. For private events, we can put a summary for catering here. And then we have more menu features. I don't know what I want to do with this yet. We'll see how the page looks as we're building it. And then, of course, the call to action that we know we're going to replace with our call to action. So now that we're down here, go ahead and click in the add template and then go to my templates and then choose insert next to sub pages. And I'm actually going to put don't apply here because we don't want the layout to look exactly the same. So I don't want it to mess with the page as it is already. So I already know that we don't want this footer call to action because we do have our own footer call to action down here. So I'm going to close out of this section right here. And then this is the sub page hero area. This is the part of the sub page where it shows a picture and it shows a title and a little information. We are going to have it different here. And first thing I want to change is that background color. So I'm going to right click and go to edit hero. And then under style, I'm going to change that color to that dark gray that we're using for other backgrounds. And now that I did that, I changed my mind. I want it black, so I'm going to switch it to primary instead. And then as I was saying earlier, this hero is set up kind of interestingly. So it has 2 pictures. So you've got a couple options here. What you could do is put the picture of your food truck as a background image and then a picture of your food in the front. That could look really cool. So let's see, you can go ahead and select this container, and then for image, click that, and then go to upload file, and then drag in a picture of your food truck, and then click select. So it could look something like that. And then of course you want to replace this with your food if you want to do that. Or you can just go ahead and right click and delete that and then just have one big picture either of your food or your food truck. So now if we scroll down to the next section, this is the About part. This is the About feature for the home page. So I'm going to select this container and I'm going to make this one black also. And then of course we're going to have to change this heading color to white. And we're going to have to change this subheading color to white. And then this text is also going to have to be white. And then for typography, we will click that into the global text font so we make sure everything matches. And then let's also go ahead and pull in a new button so it matches with our global button. And then we can delete this one. And then instead of click here, we can say learn more about us, or that's more than we need to do. We can just have this say about us. And then for link, we'll choose about, and then that will pop up. So now that section's done. And then we have the menu feature. So I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to keep one of these menu features, and then I'm also going to have this part be another menu feature instead of this. So actually to take care of that, we can do that really easy. We don't need this other part of the template, and then we can go ahead and get rid of this also. So now we just have that menu feature here, and the bottom of the page is basically done, and the top of the page is basically done. So let's just finish up the middle. I think I like this little section the best, so I'm going to close out of this one. And then for this section, of course, obviously you want to replace this with a picture of your own food, which you would do by clicking that edit icon and then choosing a new image. And we also want to make the headline your global font, and we want to make sure this is your global font. And then again, we want a new button that matches your global font. And then we can have this say view our menu, or again, we don't need it to say view, we can just have it say our menu, and then make the link go to menu. And there we go, we're done with that section also. Now you kind of see why I picked to do the home page last, because it's easier to know what to put here after we do all the other pages. So now we're going to scroll down again, and we're going to get rid of this happy hour one. And this picture is part of the happy hour also, so we'll get rid of that as well. And then now we have way too much space here, so we'll select this container, go to advanced, just go ahead and take off the top padding altogether. And then we can make this background color that same gray background we like. And then, of course, we have to change the font colors again so we can see them on that background. And then we can go ahead and make this say catering, catering. Make sure this is set to text, and then drag in a new button. And then we're going to call this learn more. I might change that around later, but that works for the time being since we already have catering as the title. To have catering be the button again, it might be a little weird, but like I said, I might adjust that later. And then if we keep scrolling, the rest of the page is basically done. So look at how easy and fast that was. Now, next thing we have to do, of course, as always, is to check for responsive mode. So we are going to go to tablet. And wow, I'm glad I did that because I didn't even notice that this text box was here, that we don't need this to be here. So we're going to right click it and go to delete. And then I'm going to scroll down and that looks good. And this looks okay, but I think I would rather this button be centered in tablet mode. And then everything else looks good. And then we'll check for mobile mode. And then everything looks good to me here also. Oh, you know what? Well, no, this is to the left. This text is to the left, so it makes sense if the button's to the left. Now let me scroll down here. Catering gets centered. Everything else gets centered. Okay, so since everything else gets centered, I do like a left alignment on mobile a lot, but since everything else on the page is centered, it just looks weird if those are the only things that aren't centered. So I'm going to select all of these and make sure they are centered on mobile also, just so everything looks consistent and it doesn't look like a lazy mistake. So, okay, so that's good. And then we can go ahead and check the other ones just to make sure everything looks great. And then we can click update. And then we can click the 3 lines at the top left and view the page. And there you go. And now you can feel a little bit of an extra bit of pride and happiness and accomplishment because you basically have the whole website done right now. And I'm saying basically because there's still a few things that we have to do. Of course, we need to connect your domain name. We have to connect your SSL certificate. We have to set up analytics, but you've got the base of the site done. Another thing that I like to do at this point, after I have everything created and like the base styles done, I like to go through the website and make sure everything is as perfect as possible. So I like to look through it with fresh eyes after everything's done. Sometimes I like to wait until the following day to look back on it so my eyes are really, really fresh, and just make sure to make any little tweaks and changes so everything looks as good as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and make those changes, and you should do that also. Even though I'm not doing this on camera, I'm not doing anything that I haven't already showed you guys how to do. I just don't want to waste your time having me decide if I want a font size to be 16 pixels or 18 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and make those small adjustments and I'll be right back. And now here is my completed site. As you can tell, I changed some of the fonts, some of the colors, some of the pictures. And now that that's done, we get to connect the domain name. So we're going to connect the domain name by pointing the A records to your server IP address. If you don't know what that means, that's totally fine. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. The reason I do that instead of name servers is because I like to be able to control everything at the domain name. If you want to learn more about changing domain name settings, you can go ahead and check the description for the video about DNS settings. So the first thing we need to do is get your IP address. So sign into SiteGround, click to websites. On your website, click Site Tools. And then under IP and name servers, you're going to see something that says Site IP. Select that and then copy it. Then sign in to where your domain name is registered and go to DNS settings. For pork bun, if you hover over your domain name, you'll see something that says DNS. Click that. And then when you get here, scroll down and make sure there's no current records here. If they are, there should be a little trash can icon, so just click that and delete them. And then after that's done, up top, make sure A is chosen for address record. And then for the first record, we're going to put the host, we're going to leave it as blank. For answer, go ahead and paste that IP address and then click add. Then we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to put the asterisk, the little star that's above the 8 for where it says host. And then for answer, we're going to paste that IP address again and then click add one more time. Next, we're going to head back to Site Tools. And then we're going to click domain, and then we're going to click back to my account. Click websites again, and then on your website, click all site options. Then click the 3 dots to the right, and then click change primary domain. Then put your new domain name here and here for new domain and confirm new domain, and then click the confirm button. Give it a second to process your request. And now when you make a domain name change, it could take 24 to 48 hours to go through, but if you have a good domain register like pork bun, it tends to go through pretty quickly. So if this doesn't come up saying you're all set right away, give it some more time and then come back and try again. And now that that's done, we are going to set up the SSL certificate. It did say that it was going to automatically set one up, but let's just double check by going to websites and then go to site tools. And if this looks like this just means SiteGround needs a little more time to finish setting up your domain name. So give it some more time and then come back maybe a half hour to an hour. And there we go. Now it's working. And this honestly only took me like 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and get the SSL certificate set up. Click security on the left-hand side and then click SSL manager. Make sure the domain name you just added is chosen under select domain, and then for select SSL, choose let's encrypt and then click get. Give it a second to set up. And then when that's done, it's going to look like this. And then we have to do 2 more things to get SSL working. So first click HTTP enforce on the left side, and then switch HTTPS enforce to on if it's not done already. Then we need to sign into the WordPress backend. So click WordPress and then click install and manage. And then click this little icon down here to log into the admin panel. And then go to speed optimizer environment. And then switch HTTPS enforce to on. Then click confirm. You are going to be logged out, but that's no big deal. You can just pop back into SiteGround to log back in. So just click confirm. Okay, so now let's go ahead and test and make sure everything's working by going to your domain name on a incognito browser window. Now, again, if it's not working right now, sometimes you just have to wait with domain name settings. You can also try putting your domain name under this website called DNS Checker. Make sure A is selected. This is linked in the description below under resources, and click search. And you want all of these numbers to be the same as the server number that we put in your A records for your domain name. If it's not the same numbers, either you didn't do your A records correctly or they're not pointed yet. So go ahead and pop into an incognito window and test it. So for me, I can see that we've got some issues here. Namely, this background image isn't working anymore. Sometimes this happens when an SSL certificate is set up because the pictures were added not as secure. So I'm going to show you how to fix that real quick. But first, to know that it's secure, you're going to know as long as there's no errors or anything or an angry crossed out red thing that's yelling at you that the site's not secure. If you're on Chrome, you can also click here to view site information and see that it says connection is secure. So here we are in the WordPress dashboard, and the first thing you want to do is hover over Elementor, go to Tools, and then under Regenerate CSS and Data, just go ahead and click that button that says Regenerate Files and Data. And then hover over your name on the top left and go to Visit Site. And even though it looks good here, we know it's not working in the incognito window, so click Edit with Elementor. And then select the container, and then go to Style, and then go to Image. And then the image should be selected already, and you should just be able to click Select, and it should show up fine. And then click Update. Then click the 3 lines at the top left, go to View Page, and click Purge SG Cache in the top. Pop back into your incognito window, do a refresh. And there you go. Now your image shows up and everything else is looking good. So go ahead and pop through your site and just make sure all the rest of your images are showing up okay. And if they're not, do exactly what I just did and fix them. Next, let's get a Google Analytics account set up for you so you can keep track of who's visiting your site and where they're coming from. This is going to be really, really useful for you when you start doing marketing. So head over to analytics.google.com and sign in with your Google account. Of course, there is a detailed tutorial in the description. Then click the gear icon in the bottom left to go to your admin screen. You're going to want to create a new account. So up top, click the create button and then click account. Put an account name. I like to put in just the regular business name here. You can choose what to share. I like to go ahead and share everything so Google can learn as much as possible, and then click the next button. For property name, I'm going to just put the name of the business, and then I'm going to put website afterwards. I'm going to set the time zone to my time zone and then click next. I'm going to select the industry For this, it's going to be food and then small and then next. Then you can choose whatever you want here and then click create. Agree to all the terms here and then click I accept. And then click web. Put in your website address here, the one that you just connected the domain name to. And then we can call this website. And then click create stream. Now head back to your website, hover over the site name in the top left, and then click dashboard. Then on insights on the left side, hover over that and then go to settings. Then click the Connect Monsters Insights button. Click Continue and Connect to Google. Choose the account that you made the Google Analytics account with. Click Allow. Select the property you just created here. I'm going to shut off emails and then I'm going to click Complete Connection. To test this and make sure it's working, head back to Analytics, close out of this. And then you'll see that it says no data received in the past 48 hours. We don't want it to say that. It does say data collection may take up to 48 hours to get started, but this is also something that tends to happen quicker. So I'm going to click next, and then I'm going to click continue to home. And it says no data received from your website yet. So what I'm going to do is go back to that incognito tab and then refresh a couple times and see if that gets it going. So here we are. I'm going to click refresh a few times. And then head back here and click refresh also. And nothing yet. So I do want to make sure that the code has been updated. So head back into your site admin and then click purge SG cache. Then go back to your incognito window and refresh a couple more times. Pop back to analytics, refresh again. And there we go. I refreshed a couple more times and it says data collection is active. So that's great news. That's done. And now your website is almost done. We just have to do one more thing, and it's a really, really important thing, and that's testing. So head back to your incognito window and just click through your site and make sure everything looks good and everything's working the way it's supposed to be. It looks like our Instagram feed is still working even after we changed the domain name, so that is great. If for some reason yours isn't, just reconnect it the same way that we connected it in the beginning. It's also very, very, very important that you check the forms on your site. Fill out this form as a test form and make sure you're getting it in your email and you recognize what it looks like and you're replying and everything's working perfectly. So for you, you want to do that for the catering page, and then you want to scroll down and you want to do that on your contact page also. Definitely check your call to action page because, again, we know how important that is. And look, this link isn't working. It's still going to the old address. This is something that happens during testing, and this is why we test. So I'm going to head back to WordPress admin, hover over the name in the top left, and then click visit site. Then I'm going to hover over edit with Elementor and click header. I'm going to select that find us button, and then for the link, I am going to start typing and choosing find us and then clicking update. And then I'm going to do 3 lines at the top left and view the page. Then I'm going to click purge SG cache, head back to the incognito window and then click refresh and then click find us. And there we go. Now it's going where it's supposed to go and everything looks good. So click around your site and click around in all of your devices. Check all the links. It looks like all of my buttons are going to the old URL, so I'll have to fix that with everything. So make sure to check your buttons also. And check it on desktop, check it on mobile, check it on all the devices. Maybe tell your friends to look also to make sure they aren't finding something wrong that you're missing. And you do want to, again, wait the full 24 to 48 hours before you start showing off your website just to be safe. But that's it. You're all done. Congratulations. You now have a WordPress website for your food truck, all done for under $200. Go ahead and feel really good about yourself and maybe get a fun snack and have a bath or do something to give yourself a little reward, because that was a lot of hard work and you did really, really good. If I was helpful to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comment below. And make sure to check the description. I have a free download of a 9-step roadmap to DIY your first website. And that can serve as an extra guide for you while you are building and launching your site. Thanks so much for watching.